Hello, hello. I think it should be working now. Yeah, it's working now. Let me see what I want to do. Let me see what world news or politics I want to do today.
I scored dream. This week I looked at thousands of polls, and normally I say, hey, it's good news for one side and bad news for the other. But in this particular case, we're talking about bad news for both sides. This voter group wants to sweep both parties out of power in Washington, D.C. But who is the news worse for? Well, we're going to start off by talking about one side it may be bad for, or it is bad for, and that is the Republican Party. Bad news for Republicans. And we are talking about white non-college voters. This is Trump's base. But look at Trump's net favorability rating. You know, you go back to November of 2024 when he was reelected to a second term. Look at this. He was 25 points above water. Now look at this. He's at -6 points down in the cornfields of Iowa. I feel like
I'm gonna take off my
sweeping it away
headphones.
here with my, oh my goodness
I
gracious.
was watching a video on
-6 points.
on
Then
my,
you compare that to where he was at this point
my phone.
in term number one. Look at this. He was at
Yeah,
plus
but
20 points. So we're talking about a massive
Trump's
decline here. We're talking about a
favorability is
decline of
losing.
over 30 points from November of
-6%.
2024 and a 26-point decline from where he was basically at this point in term number one. Now, what is
Yeah, hopefully
causing
my
this?
mic is
Because
good.
we're talking
I'm gonna
about the
check
group
right
here,
now if my
but it's
mic's
even more
getting picked up.
bonkers what is causing this and what's going
But
on
yeah,
with Democrats.
just Trump's
Take a look at this.
favorability
Okay, why is this so
is not
important? Well, it's so important because non-college
going
whites make
downhill.
up the plurality of voters nationwide, 37%. That is why we're talking about this group. Compare that to college whites who are frankly overrepresented in the media, if we're just being perfectly honest with each other, or black voters or Latino voters. They each make up 11%. Non-college whites make up more than, get this, more than a third of the electorate, nearly,
I'm on my
get
laptop right
this,
now.
4 in 10, 2 in 5. And that is why the drops that Trump is seeing with these groups could be so devastating to the Republican Party. Because look at these numbers. I mean, Trump economy net approval rating, white non-college voters. At this point in term number one, he was 29 points in the positive. Yes, on the good side of the ledger. He was on the good side of the ledger. But look at this now. This is what is causing this decline. We're talking about, what is this? A dramatic drop of what? 53 points? 53 points down to -24 points. Oh my goodness gracious. And what is causing this drop in the economy? What was the thing that got Trump elected to a second term in the first place? It's inflation. It's inflation. I mean, you rarely ever see drops like this. Trump's net approval rating on inflation among white non-college voters, look at this, it was plus 22 points at the beginning of Trump's second term. -38? I was so surprised by this number. I actually had my producer Gordon go back and check this. I thought that this was a mistake. I thought that this was an error because you never see drops. What is this? This is a 60-point drop. This is a 60-point drop in a little bit less than a year and a half. A nearly 60-point drop. Now Trump is 38 points in the red in a group that is part of his own voter base. Okay, so this is the bad news for Republicans, right? But remember, I'm talking about sweeping out both parties. I'm talking about sweeping out both parties. And what's the bad news for Democrats? Because the bottom line is this. Both parties are seen as giant turkeys. They're seen as giant turkeys by white non-college voters. Boy, that was a loud sound, wasn't it? That's a hoe fall into the ground. How about the net favorability rating in the Democratic Party? Look at this. Look at this long-term trend. In 2012, it was minus 2 points. Look at where it was in a CBS News poll that came out within the last month. The Democratic Party's net favorability with non-college white voters, minus 36 points. So the short-term trend, not necessarily good for Republicans and Donald Trump, but the long-term trend, really, really bad for the Democratic Party. Really, really bad. We're talking about, what is this? This is a 34-point drop over the last 14 years. And even if Donald Trump is struggling, remember, it's which side is losing more. When you match up Democrats and Republicans on the economy, what do we see? Do we see, despite the fact that Trump's economic net approval rating is negative, that all of a sudden Democrats are trusted more? They are not trusted more. Look at this. Party that, well, isn't that interesting? Sometimes you get the slide cut off a little bit here, but there we go. We'll put that P right there. Party white non-college trust more on the economy. Look at this. It's Republicans, plus 16 points. Republicans are still trusted more on the economy. And this gets back to what I'm saying here. What is this? What is this? Hold on. It's not a, give me this. It's not a question mark. It's an exclamation point. It's an exclamation point from Kate, my producer. Everyone sucks. Everyone sucks. Everybody sucks. That's what's going on here. Everybody sucks. And you can see this right here. Look at the inflation. Look at the inflation. Which party do white non-college voters trust more in inflation? Despite Trump's absolutely devastating decline, going down to what was that, a 60-point switcheroo? On inflation, the Republican Party is still trusted more by 16 points. So even if Trump isn't liked, it's not all of a sudden like the Democrats are all of a sudden trusted on this. And honestly, this is all just making me quite thirsty. It's a Diet Pepsi this week. So this begs the question, who's in worse shape because of this? Who is the news worse for? Is it the donkeys or is it the elephants? Is it the Democrats or is it the Republicans? Well, why we care so much about this isn't just that the voting group, white non-college voters makeup, is larger than any other group. It's that they are disproportionately large in the Midwest. It's been so big, great blue wall where terrible news. Republicans here. This is what I'm talking about. Who is the news worse for? Who is the Iowa senator? Okay, Ohio too. Great news for Democrats. Polling, if you go back to the last minute, Real Clear Politics, for Congress among white non-college voters, and the national polling has tended to be more accurate than the state polling. Well, in October of 2024, the Republicans, they were up by 26 points. Look at where we are now. The Republicans are also up by 26 points. So you might say to yourself, okay,
Far-right Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir boasted of new gallows for hanging Palestinians under the country's new death penalty law. The site, he said, would have a viewing area.
יהיו כלפי צפייה, יבואו קורבנות העבירה, כמו בארצות הברית אגב, שצופים אותו רוצח שיוצא להורג, בעזרת השם, זה קוראים עור וגידים.
The death penalty has been used only 2 times in Israel's history, and not since 1962. This year, Ben-Gvir led a major effort to broaden the death penalty so it effectively applies to Palestinians convicted of terrorism, but not Israelis. For his birthday, Ben-Gvir received a noose-themed cake. This is all part of a pre-election push. Last week, Ben-Gvir, who has railed against any ceasefire in Gaza, said Israel should carry out more assassinations in Gaza every day, which quickly drew international condemnation.
אני חושב שצריך לעשות סיכולים ממוקדים בעזה, כל לילה להוריד 30-40. לא רק אלה שמסכנים אותך באותו רגע. אין, יש שם אנשים שהם לא בני חיים, הם לא צריכים לחיות, הם לא אנשים, גם אני נותן להם מחמאה שאני קורא להם אנשים.
Ben-Gvir has also touted plans for a crocodile-filled moat outside of the Ketziot prison in southern Israel. For now, those plans are on hold because of the risk to the animals. But Ben-Gvir's campaign, along with its inflammatory rhetoric, is not. Far-right Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir boasted of new gallows.
Yeah, Ben-Gvir is a nut job. This Ben-Gvir guy is a nut job. Yeah, I don't think anything this Ben-Gvir guy says is a nut job in Israel. Should be doing. Yeah, I was gonna. I think yesterday, there was a drone attack on. There was a drone attack on a warehouse in Ukraine that killed 15 people. Let me bring up an article. Well, the screen. Which sure, I don't wanna. Yeah, this is what happened. Russian drone kills 15 people at shopping mall. Oh, it's a shopping mall now. Yeah, this article says Russian drone strike a shopping center in city of Kyiv, Lviv, in center of Ukraine on Friday, killing at least 15 people wounded. The shopping mall strikes plus two separate Russian attacks in Makarova and Kyiv regions left 21 people dead on Friday. Kyiv is the hometown of President Vladimir Zelensky, describes the attack on double issue. These are terrorist attacks. Zelensky wrote, "Yeah, it's crazy." Well, I think I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna end the stream. Cheers, everybody. Just kind of bored. I don't wanna. I guess there's really nothing happening in the Iran war. Just there's been ceasefires and all this, but who knows? I'm just gonna end the video. Cheers, everyone. Everyone have a nice day. Cheers.